This is the life, G. It's GHL. Because your geek history lesson on the best movie musicals is now in session. Hello and welcome to Geek History Lesson. I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And I'm Jason. Bring in the trumpets, Inman. Welcome to your Mind University, because this is Geek History Lesson, the podcast where we teach you about one character, one construct, or one team in a little bit less than an hour from pop culture and tell you everything about it. But today is going to be one of our famous, our infamous, as some would say.
Or beloved, I would say.
List episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Listeners might know, I think about 6 months ago, we did an episode that was the best superhero movie scores of all time. And we had an amazing guest on that. And we thought, let's branch a little bit away from superheroes. Let's go to the superheroes of the stage, the superheroes of the tap, the superheroes of the piano, as some would say. And talk about musicals, but specifically movie musicals, which is a very specific genre. It has a lot of great talent, a lot of great, songs and music in it. And we can't talk about this stuff without hearing the music. And that leads us to, we've brought back a very special guest. Who is this very special guest, Ashley?
It is the beautiful, the wonderful, the incredibly talented host of the Settle the Score podcast, Mr. Andy Merryweather. Welcome back, Andy.
Hello, guys. Nice to be back.
Andy,
how are you doing?
Great. Andy, I just want to say, I want to, pump up your ego a little bit more. But since your last appearance on this podcast, you have been heavily requested to return.
Yep.
That's lovely to hear. And I think ego and pressure in equal parts, so no problem.
All I'm saying is they just announced that the Wicked movie's finally happening. So if anyone wants GHL Wicked, yes, then we'll bully Andy into coming back for that.
No problem at all.
Well, that's where I'll fully reveal that I have not seen Wicked.
You don't know Wicked?
I want to see the stage version, it has not worked out. Anyways, but Wicked is soon to be a movie musical, so
yes.
It fits in with the theme of this episode. Now, Ashley, why specifically are we talking about movie musicals for this episode?
Oh, well, if my incredibly crappy introduction didn't give it away, it is because we are talking about movie musicals to celebrate Tick, Tick, Boom coming out on Netflix on November 12th. By my beloved sweet baby actual angel, Jonathan Larson, starring my sweet baby angel, Joshua Henry. So excited.
I love how you didn't actually say the person who's directing the movie or the lead actor of said movie.
I am literally most excited for Joshua Henry. Jason and I saw him play Aaron Burr. He was amazing.
In Hamilton. Just in case you didn't know.
Yes, of course, Lin-Manuel Miranda. This is his directorial debut.
Yeah,
it stars
movie feature director
Andrew Garfield.
Spider-Man.
Belize.
Spider-Man is in this movie.
He's Belize in Angels in America.
The conscientious objector from Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah. No, we are pro Andrew Garfield on this podcast. I think he's a weird choice to play basically Jonathan Larson, but I'm really, really excited for this. I've loved Tick, Tick, Boom for a long time. So this seemed like the best way to celebrate it, and also let Andy do a little showing off. We love that.
Play some piano on the podcast.
Tinkle them ivories.
Yep.
Yeah, Polly the piano, as I think you guys labeled last time.
Yes.
Polly the piano. All right, so let's get into our meet cute. Ashley, what's that?
The meet cute is the second part of the podcast where we tell you the first time we meeted something and how cute it was.
Andy, do you have an early memory or a fond memory of watching a movie musical?
Well, I think it's probably I was raised on movie musicals and my mum taking us to London to the theatre, so I can't quite sort of clear the fog as to what the first one was, but I think my exposure to movie musicals, and we're talking, I was born in 85, so I think 4, 5, 6 years old. I think I had the sing-along Disney DVDs, and I just remember the Mickey Mouse head going over the words and doing stuff like,
yes,
who's the leader of the club? and stuff like that. And definitely Friend Like Me was the one that me and my sister would kind of watch over and over again to get the lyrics. So I think Aladdin was on quite a lot. I guess I'm 7 when Aladdin comes out. But
what's your favorite song on Aladdin? Putting you on the spot, Andy.
Yeah, that's a good question. And it doesn't come up today. But I think Friend Like Me is so good and also allows me to have a mini rant. This is the part of the show we call the mini rant, where basically in Friend Like Me, people have heard me do this like whilst I'm walking with them in London and stuff. When in Friend Like Me in the original 92, he says, "Can your friends do this?" And he does, like, he takes off his head and juggles his head with like 10 versions of his head. You know, he's juggling them. And I had that bath toy, by the way. But Will Smith, Genie, says, "Can your friend do this?" And he beatboxes. And yeah, I have friends who can beatbox. And if he was my genie, you know, I'd be like,
You're like, that's a lame genie.
That is.
Can your friends do this? You know, and some of my friends can. In fact, we just walked past one on the street. You know, like, it's not a big deal at all.
Well, everyone, that was
mini rant.
Andy's mini rant. I cooked up a sound effect just for him.
That was great.
Awesome. Ashley, I assume yours is probably going to be Peter Pan, right?
It's not my earliest memory. I don't want to count. I feel like for everyone who's been born after like 75, your answer is probably going to be a Disney movie, because that is a lot of people's sometimes only exposure to musicals or movie musicals.
Yeah, fair.
But one that really stands out for me is rewatching the original Annie movie for the first time with my dad, and my dad was bald, and when Daddy Warbucks showed up for the first time, my dad was like, "Look, he's bald like me." I don't know why that was important for him, but like the memory of that stands out very clearly for me. And then when I was 12 for Christmas, we went and saw a professional production of Annie, so it kind of came full circle. That's also not on my list, but I have a very fond it's a place in my heart for Annie, the entire production, but specifically for that movie musical. So, Jason, if you don't say Oklahoma, somebody somewhere will yell.
Why would it be Oklahoma?
Well, just because you're from that part of the country.
It's not Oklahoma.
Good. Oklahoma's boring.
I like Oklahoma. It is not Oklahoma. No, it's the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Wizard of Oz, because what most people, I would say most people, you know, if you got to see any part of the 80s as a kid, in America, ABC, I believe it was ABC, it could be, but one of the broadcast network channels always ran The Wizard of Oz every single year. It was like the big thing. And I remember we would watch it. That's how we would watch it. They did that, like, I think almost in my teenage years, and then they stopped doing it. But it was like the big, every time it came around, it was like, Wizard of Oz is coming back. So that is obviously my first. And of course, that's the one, Ashley, because Wizard of Oz set in Kansas. And
I
I'm from
knew
Kansas.
It was going to be Wizard of Oz.
Again, Kansans only have 2 famous people that come from our state. That's Superman and Dorothy Gale. Both.
Laura Ingalls Wilder is turning over in her grave
I know,
somewhere.
but according to pop culture, we only have 2 famous people. I mean, Don Johnson comes from, Nash Bridges himself comes from Kansas. Nobody talks about Don Johnson. Anyways, moving on. No Don Johnson mini rant. Anyways, all right. So everybody, this is going to be a fun episode. What you don't know is before the episode, Ashley and I gave Andy 3 songs from movie musicals, 3 songs each to Andy. Andy also picked 3 songs from some of his favorite movie musicals, and Andy now is going to play, and I believe, sing, Andy? Are you going to sing?
I'm going to have a go at singing, yeah.
Oh, my Lord. This is going to be exciting.
Well, you have to live up to the off tune that I threw down earlier.
That's right. And all the singing that I've done in previous episodes. So Andy is going to play and sing a snippet of these songs. We're going to give a guess because Andy is playing these in a random order. We also have no idea what Andy's choices are. So this is going to be very exciting for us. And I don't know Ashley's choices, and Ashley does not know mine. So this is going to be very interesting to see if I have a feeling I'm going to do badly at this, but there is no score. There is no winners. It's just for fun to hear Andy's lovely talents. So Andy, are you ready, good sir?
I think so. Let me know if you can hear the piano there.
Yes,
can.
we can. We can hear the my reason. By the way, I don't think have we asked you this before? Does your piano have a name?
We named it on the last podcast.
Oh, did we, Polly?
Yeah.
That was a long time ago, Adam. That was a long time ago. Welcome to Jason Forgetting Stuff. All right. But Andy...
Oh, wait, that's a button that you press.
It is.
I thought you did that with your mouth. I thought it was like a beatbox reference.
Yeah. Can your friends do this? No, we have a soundboard full of sound effects, Andy.
Oh, perfect.
So, Andy, you're going to take us down Memory Road.
Memory Lane?
Yes, exactly.
I said Memory Road.
You did.
I was
Memory
you have
Boulevard.
The X Factor, like the buzzer if I sing out of key or anything.
Absolutely
like
not.
That's right. And should we explain as well, like you do on the Settle the Score podcast, that you, I don't know if you've refashioned these songs to not ding the copyright algorithm of any time. I don't know if you've played. Did you do that for any of these, or just forget it?
I think it's passable. I think
we'll learn soon enough.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I honestly don't think it'll come up. But the algorithms to pick up those things are quite clever, and I don't think covers, especially just piano ones, would get them. We've never had an issue with Settle the Score.
Well, there you go, everybody. But that's the reason why, if anything sounds kind of off, it's that reason. Not, I don't want to hear any
guff.
I don't want to hear any guff about Andy's talent. Anybody out there, you hear me? I'm looking at you, Duggins, Colorado. All right. If there's a Doug in Colorado now that just sparked up that's listening, you're fine.
Email us, geekhistorylesson@gmail.com. We'll send you a sticker.
That's right. This is Doug from Colorado Corner. Anyways, Andy, why don't you take us off into the first movie musical?
Okay, great. I think this is the longest excerpt of one of the 9 songs. So don't worry that it's too long and all of them will be this long. I don't think it's that long, but it is the longest one.
Okay.
It's just because it has 2 sections that I particularly love. Okay. Little town, it's a quiet village. Every day, like the one before. Little town, full of little people, waking up to say bonjour, 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 bonjour. There goes the baker with his tray like always. The same old bread and rolls to sell. Every morning just the same, since the morning that we came to this poor provincial town.
Good morning, Belle.
Isn't this amazing? It's my favorite part because you'll see. Here's where she meets Prince Charming, but she won't discover that it's him till chapter 3. Now it's no wonder that her name means beauty. Her looks have got no parallel. Behind that fair facade, I'm afraid she's rather odd, very different from the rest of us. It's Belle.
And that, of course, is from A Fiddler on the Roof, right?
Fiddler on the Roof is in my also rans.
I know this is Ashley's choice. This is Beauty and the Beast. This is the what is the official name of this song?
Belle.
Is it Belle?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
or
okay.
the overture sometimes.
Yeah, it says it's the intro of the movie from Beauty and the Beast, the animated version. Andy, by the way, spectacular falsetto, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
Wow, well done. Well, you said you had 2 parts of the song that you really enjoyed, Andy. What were the 2 parts there that you wanted to?
Love that.
I'm sorry,
I
keep
do love
interrupting.
the umpa stuff. I love that stuff. That's very fun, and it means you can have all these different characters throw in lines, and some people just have 2 words of a whole phrasing and stuff, and that's great fun. But this bit here, ironically, with the lyric in the song, it is my favorite part of probably the entire musical in terms of musically. I just love how that moves around. It has that feather like falling, like floating on the wind as it comes down. I just love that feel. So yeah, that is my favorite part. You'll see.
Why is this your choice, Ashley?
So I intentionally didn't fill this with Disney movie musicals, but this is the one that I wanted to include. Aladdin is my actual favorite Disney movie. But I think Belle from Beauty and the Beast is so singular in what it does in terms of movie musicals and specifically Disney's, because this is an operetta style introduction to an animated film. This is like tradition in Fiddler on the Roof, where you have the bit where it's like the mamas, and it like kind of tells you who everyone is and what they're going to do. And it so beautifully sets up Belle, because you can look at Beauty and the Beast on a very surface level, right? Of literally the beauty finding the beast. But Belle is, I think, such an integral heroine, because Belle is beautiful in all aspects of her life. She is beautiful on the outside. Her mind is beautiful. She's very intelligent. A lot of this song is about, isn't it weird that she likes to read, like with a dreamy far off look and her nose stuck in a book, very different from the rest of us as well. And then she's beautiful on the inside, which is why she is not interested in spending time with Gaston, who gets a couple interludes in the course of this lengthy song. And it's also what enables her to save Prince Adam and transform him later in the movie. And I think it's such an interesting introductory piece, because it tells you her entire arc, what the core values of the movie is. And then it's really fun because there's the scene where one of the villagers is like, I need 6 eggs. It's too expensive. And they're like, the wife is clubbing the husband because he's looking at Belle. It just encompasses everything that's going on. And it's also, Andy was talking about the soft musical, like it's like a feather falling. Like, to me, it sounds very French. In that,
interesting.
In that overly produced American way, I think it does a great job evoking France.
I like that. All right, interesting. I would have never considered that. I mean, I do agree with you. Aladdin is my favorite as well, but I think when you think about that time period in Disney, I do think objectively, Beauty and the Beast is the best.
I agree. Sort of beginning with The Little Mermaid, going up to about Mulan, probably that sort of Disney Renaissance.
The 90s Disney Renaissance. I think of that period. I prefer Aladdin, but I think that just says more about, because I think, Andy, you said you preferred it as well. I think it just says that we like adventure a little bit more than the romance.
And Beauty and the Beast also, I will point out, was, I believe, the first to win Academy Awards. Little Mermaid was nominated for a bunch of them, but I believe Beauty and the Beast is the first of the Disney to like win big time awards. And it's because they also, the singers that they cast were opera or operetta singers as well.
Yeah.
And it really comes through in that song. So
yeah, cool.
Belle's great.
Yeah, so it's definitely, as you say, like it's a multitude of different things going on within the world of musical. You have like the I Am songs, the I Want songs, the the chorus line stuff, and this one has pretty much everything. It definitely is an I Am song. It introduces Belle, introduces the town, introduces Gaston. This song would be like Part of Your World having a section where Ursula sings. It's crazy. And it also foreshadows, like you say. I mean, I think it's debatable whether Belle has an arc, and I think, I mean, that's as a positive. I think she's quite self-actualized from the start. I don't think she necessarily changes much at all, but that's fine. I think the Beast has to have. Yes,
the Beast has the arc. Yeah, which is in it. But that's very correct. Like, I don't think many people would realize that, and she might be one of the few movie or Disney princesses that does not change over the course of her movie, really.
And she doesn't need a prince to come save her. She's
a hero from the first frame.
Well, she changes in as much as, now we're just going to get into a story, where she won't leave her father, she won't leave Maurice at the beginning, and in the end she does, and she sort of goes off into her own life. But yes, Prince Adam definitely has more of the arc in this.
Well, speaking of
we call him by his Christian name.
That's right. Speaking of more, Andy, let's hear another selection from a movie musical.
Sure thing. Also, just before we leave Beauty and the Beast, I definitely feel like, having watched this as an adult, that it's the story of adolescence. This guy grows body hair and
he is 11 when he gets cursed. So
yeah, he's going through puberty. He has a height surge. I do think that's a potential theory.
I love that.
Right, okay.
Andy's puberty rant over.
Right, let's pick the next song. I haven't picked an order for these, so I'm just gonna.
It's whatever you like.
Yeah. Let's try. Nah, let's do this one. No rhyme or reason. Okay. I never thought. No, I'm in a way too deep a key. I'm doing a Beast's version of that. Hold on 1 second. I never thought my life could be anything but catastrophe, but suddenly I begin to see a bit of good luck for me, 'cause I've got a golden ticket, I've got a golden twinkle in my eye. I never thought I never had the chance to shine, never a happy song to sing, but suddenly half the world is mine. What an amazing thing, 'cause I've got a golden ticket, I've got a golden sun up in the sky. I'm trying to figure out how to end this now. There we go.
No, that's all good.
Beautiful.
That is my choice.
Yes.
That is, I've got a golden ticket from 1971's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That's Jack Albertson's song. He's Grandpa Joe in the film. This one is one to me because, like, I think one, not only does Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the movie version, have such amazing songs like Pure Imagination and everything like that, but I picked this one because I think it's the one. I'm going to say this in a really respectful way to someone who has been in this musical. I think it's the one song that's not laced with LSD.
Because you also played.
I was going to say that, like, I was going to say,
I apologize.
I've played Grandpa Joe. This was my song.
Yeah.
And when I played this
Right.
for a college production. We used to do, when I would go to Coffeyville Community College in Kansas, we would do these summer plays where they would convince some of the college students to stick around and do like a play in June. And so for this play, all of the adults were like the college students. So we had like Willy Wonka and stuff like that. And it's funny because when I tried out for the play, I really wanted to be Willy Wonka, but I ended up getting Grandpa Joe, and I actually think I had the better part. Because you don't realize that until you're actually. But like this song to me, again, not as it only is it amazing, but it's like it's about just optimism, and there's a lot of dark parts of that movie, and very much in the Roald Dahl, because it's interesting because the book is not a musical.
No.
They decided to turn this into a musical for the movie.
Whereas like he does have there are songs in it, but it's only the Oompa Loompa songs.
Yeah, and to me it's like for these songs not originally being part of the medium of this story, they're so like, I think they're like fantastic, and they're really good. And I will say, like, I am more than prepared. If you all want to hear my Grandpa Joe voice, I can still do it. I can still do it.
Do it,
please.
So my Grandpa Joe voice. Let's see. I would always talk like this. I'd be like, "Hey, Charlie, how's it going?" It'd be down here.
Kind of your Stan Lee.
It's a little bit down there. It'd be like, so if I were to sing this song as Grandpa Joe, it'd be like, I never thought my life could be anything but
Tom Waits.
Catastrophe. Yeah, a little bit. But suddenly I begin to see a bit of good luck for me. 'Cause the I was always the hardest part in that voice. I've got a golden ticket.
I'm surprised you did the voice and you didn't just drop it to sing, because even on Broadway, like, you'll see people will just
you mean just go normal?
Full voice.
Oh,
yeah.
no. I was always
for that like 10 show a week life, you know.
No, I was always like, I gotta sing the whole thing. I would tell you that as anybody that knows, like, doing a voice like that far down in your throat, you have to be very careful, or else you will like completely. And there were some nights that I
fried it.
I fried it. Yep, I could not talk the next day. But but this is a special one to me. Anyways, I don't know. Is there anything more I can say about this? I don't know. Andy, what do you think about this song?
Well, I as soon as you said that this is the only song without LSD, fantastic point. I would say it might have LSD, and those LSDs are lies, secrets, and deception.
Ooh.
Because Grandpa Joe hopping out of bed and jumping around like that. I mean, that guy sneaks out all the time, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
He goes and gets the candy bar, and then, he just doesn't want to work. He's the government's worst nightmare. But yeah, it's interesting. Your Tom Waits version of his voice is excellent.
Yeah,
when I listen to the song in isolation, it's actually playing right now because it's the 50th anniversary. Like Anna and I could have gone to see it today, but we'll try and find some time next week. It's playing in theaters again.
Oh, that's cool.
But when I listen to this song in isolation, his first words on the soundtrack, I thought, oh. He sounds like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, a little bit.
Look at me. He's I'm expecting him to go like, but it's a really interesting song. The chords are really cool, very unique. I don't know if the actor was a singer as such. It doesn't sound like he necessarily a singer, or maybe he used to be. Really cool song. I would have expected Pure Imagination to have been the pick, but I like that you went kind of off the obvious.
So
choice.
Jack Albertson, I did not know this. We're gonna drop into a little bit of a Wikipedia corner here. Jack Albertson, who played Grandpa Joe, he passed away in 1984, by the way, in Los Angeles. But he is a Tony, an Oscar, and an Emmy winner.
So he's almost an EGOT.
He's almost an EGOT. He is from Broadway. It said that he actually started his career in vaudeville.
Oh, wow.
But yes, he is like all over. Like he was on the Andy Griffith Show. He's in the Twilight Zone. He's in the Milton Berle Show. I'm trying to figure out what he actually won for. But it just says at the top. Yeah, he won the Tony Award for Best Featured Actor in a Play.
That's basically like a co-lead part, yeah.
He won an Academy Award for Best Supporting, but for what movies? Please tell me. Anyways,
he also has, as Grandpa Joe, he has the long pinky nails, which would be cocaine nails.
Yes.
Yep. Anyways,
really
until Andy brought my dream down, I thought this was the least LSD inspired song of the day.
I'm certain it's the most grounded. But do you know what's interesting? I just realized that so South Park parodies this song when in the episode where Cartman realizes that he can get away with swearing if he says he has Tourette's, and he starts singing "I've Got My Golden Ticket." And the first song, Belle, was also like one for one parodied in the South Park movie, right? Little Mountain Town.
Yes, yeah.
It's just Belle, the song. Yeah.
Let's see how many more South Park parodies we can drag up.
Andy, let's take us down another musical road.
Okay. Got to be one of mine, isn't it? Right, okay, let's do it. 10 years ago, I fell in love with an Irish girl. She took my heart, but she went and screwed some guy that she knew. And now I'm in Dublin with a broken heart. Oh, broken-hearted Hoover fixer sucker guy. Oh, broken-hearted Hoover fixer sucker guy. One day I'll go there and win her once again, but until then I'm just a sucker of a guy. It's my first choice.
I have no idea what this is.
Once.
No.
Is it what?
It's Once.
Once.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm good. I'm glad because
That's a good movie.
Once was in contention, but I'm also glad that you didn't pick the main. I can't think of what it's called. The
Falling
main love
Slowly.
theme. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the song that I know.
Yeah.
And they turned it
That's
into
the
a
Pure
Broadway
Imagination
musical
song.
after
Yeah,
the
yeah,
movie
yeah.
came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've refused to see it. Go and see it. So I picked. There were definitely 5 contenders for this, and I don't think Falling Slowly would have been one of them. I've played that at weddings a bunch, and
Can't imagine why.
it's a very kind of obvious song to play, and there's some great like behind the scenes stories about the piano shop owner who sold the piano that they played that song on multiple times, because he would just put a piano in its place and sell it again, and then wheel in a piano in that place again and sell it again. And basically people kept coming in and wanting to buy the piano, and he ended up, I think, multiple times sold the piano as if it was the actual one they which
that
I
is
think
so
hilarious.
funny.
Yeah.
Good for him.
But I chose Broken Hearted Hoover Fixer Upper Guy because the scene, on the bus where he's telling a story and he's so vulnerable. And I also have my instrument is my shield thing. Like I'm known for being like a best man a bunch of times. I've been best man 6 times now. And I always perform in the speech, and people think it's, just because I've got that string on my bow, but actually to stand up and do a speech without my piano would be hell for me. My piano is my shield, and the character Boy in Once, Glenn Hansard, has his guitar, and she asks him about his past relationship. Clearly he's been through some stuff because all his songwriting is showing this off, and everything he tells her in song, because it's his defense mechanism. Although it's funny and charming, he's actually just being vulnerable and not knowing how to tell her, she basically hooked up with someone else and moved to London. He decides to sing it. And even when she asks where's she living now, he sings like a country version of like Old London Town. And I absolutely adore how real this scene is. I've also sat with a girl, at uni or college and played my feelings out, jokingly, because it's very easy to throw some chords together. And so I think this is in the first half an hour of the film, and it completely bought and sold me. I was absolutely in love with this guy as a mirror of myself. Absolutely in love with myself as well, as it.
As you should be.
Yeah, but I'm really glad it was Glenn Hansard. He really sells it. I heard Cillian Murphy was the preferred choice, and then
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, he's great, and I'm not saying he couldn't have done it, but I can't
picture him in that movie.
Yeah.
So Glenn was writing the music. Cillian was going to be the lead, and then Cillian dropped out or couldn't do it, and they basically shut the movie down.
No, I don't know if that's the movie or not.
Yeah.
But.
Let's say it is because it's funny.
Just
throw it out
exactly. There. Yeah. But yeah, and then Glenn, the director just said, "I'm such an idiot. It should be you." And Glenn had already gotten Marquita to be in the movie. So it was just because they have such great chemistry anyway, and then started a relationship after the movie. I think everyone assumed they were together, and then during all the kind of Oscar buzz, they weren't together, and then they did get together, and now he's got another heartbreak to sing songs about. But yeah, absolutely, it was like looking in a mirror, but instrument change.
Nice. Well, I feel like we peered into your soul, Andy, and it was very lovely. All right, let's go to another choice here.
Sure. Yeah. Would you, just whilst I'm picking the next song, would you consider Once a musical movie because all the singing is
real?
Heck yeah,
100%.
Do people not? They're wrong.
No, I don't know, because it's because they're really singing.
Well, okay, I'll say this. I kind of weirdly think, because there are some movies that slip into movie musicals. We didn't really define movie musicals at the beginning of the podcast. Sure. And Andy, thank you so much for throwing us out as amateur podcasts. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking.
The music has to drive the narrative forward.
I kind of feel like, my requirements for a movie musical would be it has to have at least 2 songs. Mm-hmm. Because there are some things that I would consider to be a movie musical that literally only have 1 or 2 songs. It has to have at least 2 songs, and the music has to, like you said, push the plot forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I almost weirdly think, like, if someone is having a discussion about the movie, this particular movie, and they don't bring up the music, then it's not a movie musical.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know there's a very thin line, but I don't know. We all can think about movies where there's suddenly a scene where we go into a musical number, like where we're in a bar and they let the whole song play. But I would not consider that to be a movie musical.
Yeah, I agree.
So to me, it has to happen more than once. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But that's how I would define a movie. So Once, Andy, I think, is definitely a movie musical. I mean, another one I would pull out is like Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny is definitely a movie musical.
For sure.
Walk Hard. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I keep going into comedies.
Because it's who you are.
Yeah. There's what was the Lin-Manuel Miranda movie that just hit HBO Max?
In the Heights.
In the Heights. I mean, they never stopped singing.
It was a musical, so yeah.
There's a lot of there.
Yeah, because he also writes operettas where basically you never talk.
Yeah. I mean, weirdly, I would call that movie Yesterday.
Absolutely,
a movie
yeah.
musical.
Yeah,
right,
sure.
yeah, that's another one like Once, yeah.
Yeah, he sings so many songs in that movie. It's definitely a movie musical.
But also even within like stage musicals, right, there are some shows like Rent has, I believe, 47 songs because it is sung through, right? Hamilton has 30-some songs. And then something like Spring Awakening, 2007's Tony Award winner, I think has 11 tracks. There's a lot of variance, but I think so far with all the picks, I think we're all on the same page.
I think we're fine.
Yeah, and I think the question I'm asking is whether it's the musical part. It's obviously a movie, but I think the other question, and it might be for one of our other picks, is what defines then a movie? And like Hamilton's not on this list, but would you be okay with Hamilton being a movie musical?
So
like filmed performance.
I would not, because it's not structured to be a movie, right? It is a filmed stage, which is why when we're gonna have Andy back to do Hamilton at some point, but it will probably be when their movie happens.
The version,
they will film a version of it, and we'll have 6 versions of Hamilton.
I agree. It would be the difference, like we talked about with In the Heights, like the In the Heights movie, because they made that to be a movie. That's a movie musical. But if it was a filmed performance of In the Heights,
or like when we watched the Tony
not a movie
performance,
musical. That is a recording of a theatrical performance.
And I know that's semantics perhaps, but I think we're going for something that was intentionally designed to be a musical on screen.
Yes.
I can't say on film because nothing's on film.
Well, think about with editing and all the touches.
Yes,
which is what you do with a movie.
And it's interesting the things on here, like Willy Wonka, like Once, like Beauty and the Beast, that started their life as movie musicals and then were adapted to the stage afterward based on their popularity.
Basically, yeah.
I've heard Once defined as a film, like a video album, like a filmed version of a studio album, and
that's
I love that as well.
Interesting. Yeah.
But okay, so moving on, right? Next one.
Moving on, sir.
Okay. I'm definitely not going to get all the lyrics right in here. Okay, cool. Make 'em laugh, don't you know everyone wants to laugh? My dad said be an actor, my son, but be a comical one. They'll be standing in line for those old honky-tonk monkey shines. Yeah, you can study Shakespeare and be quite elite, or you could charm the critics and have nothing to eat. Just slip on a banana, peel the words at your feet. Make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh.
That was so good. This
might get copyright on that. I didn't really move it around.
We'll see. We'll mute this part of the video. This is my pick because when we decided to do this, I was like, I got to put Singing in the Rain on there because for my money, Singing in the Rain is in 1952 the epitome of the movie musical that has never been surpassed.
I kind of would agree with that.
And I think it is because obviously the talent is incredible, but it was conceived and always intended to be a movie musical, and it takes advantage of that. Think about like the Sid Charisse dance sequence, the Dream Ballet, which very much informs the way Tony and Maria's Dream Ballet has changed and adapted in West Side Story over the years, because it works on every level. And Make 'Em Laugh is my favorite song. It is Donald O'Connor's only solo song in the whole thing. He got deeply, deeply injured doing it. There's a sequence because it takes place on a soundstage.
He like runs up a wall, doesn't he?
Runs up a wall.
Yeah.
He goes through a flat.
Yeah.
And the story that I've heard, which perhaps is apocryphal, it's been over half a century since then, is that he was not supposed to go through the wall.
And
he wasn't supposed to jump through the flat. And it's basically, if you watch it, it's not a oneer, but it's maybe like a threer.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell that they just filmed the whole thing and then cut it together a couple times. I believe after the second day of shooting, he had to have a day off because they just shot this over and over again all day. It is one of the hardest most difficult. Everyone attributes that to Gene Kelly being ill during Singing in the Rain, but for my money, Make 'Em Laugh is way harder. And Donald O'Connor was a vaudevillian, and so he could do a lot of these trips and flicks and gags and stuff like that pop stars are still doing in highly stylized ways today because of that training. And I think pound for pound, and this is where people are really going to come for me, I think he's the best performer in the movie. I think he is the one to watch. Gene Kelly is the handsomer one and is very good in it, but Donald O'Connor steals the show every time. It's my favorite moment when we watch it. I look forward to it. And I think Singing in the Rain set the standard, and I don't think it has been surpassed yet. I'm not saying it can never be, but for me, it hasn't. So I had to include it when we were talking about movie musicals. And they also adapted this for Broadway as well.
Did they really?
Yes, there is a Singing in the Rain stage show.
Makes sense. It's a great music. I mean, I agree with all your points. I do. When you do think about movie musicals, to me, it's hard not to put Singing in the Rain as number one. It's basically, to me, the Citizen Kane of movie musicals.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it like set the standard weirdly, and I don't think anybody has ever come close.
Yeah. Somewhere Scott Mance is yelling about La La Land right now, and he doesn't even know why.
Oh, man. Which technically would sort of be a movie musical.
It is.
Yeah.
It is a movie musical.
I mean, I think La La Land's a remake of Singing in the Rain, isn't it? But
in a lot of ways, yes.
There's loads of stuff I love about this. Anna and I, kind of coming out of lockdown, decided to do the AFI 100 list, and we didn't get that far, but Singing in the Rain at number 5 made it. Yeah. And so, I got to watch this quite recently. And there's so much I love about this performance. There's so much energy. I think it is the technically the most challenging number to perform. Not that I can do any of that stuff, but it's there's loads of stuff going on. I heard that he used real gags that he would do just like between takes to make the crew laugh. He used that stuff in the performance, like with the doll and everything, the dummy. I love the musicality of it. There's like non-diegetic sounds coming in when he smashes his face against the wall, like he cricks his face in different positions, and there's an actual like cracking sound that's happening. Then the wood block as he's moving the dummy's hand from his leg back to its own. There's loads of stuff going on. The drums are kind of acting like lyrics in part of the song. When he's not singing, the drums are kind of filling in where lines in the song might be, because not many lyrics in this actual song. But yeah, there's so much going on, and I love that like you said, it's on a soundstage. So you've got these, talking about Inception, you've got these movie sets that are designed to suspend your disbelief at where these locations are filmed, and yet he's using them as movie sets to like playing with them, and your suspense of disbelief isn't disturbed by it at all. Like you're watching them move these sets around, so you're getting a look behind the scenes, and yet it still feels all right. Everything's fine. That's a really incredible thing as well, and I think that probably owed to Gene Kelly and his style of filming. But I absolutely love this. Great choice. Really, really perfect choice. And I think Singing in the Rain would have been the obvious choice again, like pure imagination.
It would have been weird if Singing in the Rain didn't make it anywhere on any of our choices.
Yeah.
I think it would have been strange.
Yeah.
So Andy, let's hear another choice.
Yeah, no problem. Be a clown, you know that song, right? Do you know that song?
No.
Oh, Singing in the Rain is technically a jukebox musical. It's all the songs from the time being used. Only I think 2 or 3 or 4 were written for the film itself, but Make 'Em Laugh, although is one of the original ones, it's a carbon copy of
Be a Clown?
Be a Clown.
I did not know that.
Oh, that, I mean,
Pirate.
that utterly makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Be a clown. No, exactly.
Well, I learned something today.
But I'm sure and I think that's Gene Kelly, isn't it? So I think that's an homage to that. I think he's like telling the character that Gene Kelly's playing, remember your Be a Clown days or whatever, maybe. Interestingly. Okay, let's pick a different one. Boom, ba-dum, ba-dum, boom. Filling time. Okay. Might change the sound. No, I won't. Who cares? When the moon
That is my choice.
I can't believe this is on your list and not mine.
It's from Hair, the 1979 American musical anti-war comedy drama film based on the 1968 Broadway musical Hair, the American tribal love rock musical about the Vietnam War. So this movie is legendary. And if you have not seen this movie, if you were listening right now to everybody this podcast and you have not seen the movie Hair, you need to go see it, because not only is it iconic, but it is also directed by Milos Forman, who directed Amadeus, and is a film director name. If you guys are like interested in movies and film, you need to know the name Milos Forman. But
he changes like major character arcs, reassigns songs to new characters, changes the ending.
Listen to this Broadway nerd. The movie still works.
Oh, it does, but it is very different from the stage show.
You'll see. This is very funny. It's funny. What you just experienced now is a conversation that Ashley and I will have anytime there's a Lord of the Rings conversation. Because anytime like somebody comes on screen with a different colored shirt, Ashley will be like, but in the books, Frodo had a left-handed vest, and you'll be like, it's a movie.
They're called waistcoats. They're English.
See, there we go. But Hair the movie is a fantastic movie. It's really good. It is how I was introduced to this musical. Mm-hmm. I saw the movie first. I had no idea it was a Broadway musical. And I actually think as well, like the music in this production film play is so electric and it's so emotional and it's so like boiling under the surface on everything, which I think is why this musical is still lauded to this day. Why everybody in pop culture knows this song. Even if you don't know the musical Hair, you know Age of Aquarius, because it has been spoofed by so many other movies. But I think the reason why we remember it is because it is so easily adaptable. Mm-hmm. Because at the time they were writing about Vietnam, and this song in the movie is like it takes place in Central Park. This song specifically, and you'll see like people being recruited for the Vietnam War. And, and then all like for lack of a better word, the hippies come in and try to stop them and stuff. But this song is so emotional, so about getting your blood boiling, that I think it applies to almost any sort of harm that you've had against your life. It can be adapted to anything that is not Vietnam. In
2009, they revived it on Broadway and it won Best Revival.
Oh, there you go.
So.
I don't know. Like before I said like this is the song that is an LSD and this is the song that's definitely LSD.
It's only LSD.
It is all straight lining LSD so hard that you're talking about the Age of Aquarius.
Would you like me to explain some of the astrological lines?
Sure, go for it.
So when the moon is in the seventh house, your seventh house symbolizes your dealing with romantic partners, relationships in your life, all of your sort of cosmic plus ones, the important relationships. If the moon is in your seventh house, it can be any planet. It means that you are likely to have a pious partner, so someone who's really like devoted and hardworking. And then Jupiter aligning with Mars is when they create a trine, so when they're sort of lined up cosmically, and that increases your desire to compete or win or take almost any action successfully. And over the course of Hair, it's a lot about Claude's struggle with who he wants to be in the world, who he wants to spend his life and his time in, which relationships he wants to devote himself in. So I know that those turns of phrase were included because it sounds like hippy-dippy nonsense, but they weren't unintentionally chosen, I think.
And I think that makes the lyrics even better.
There you go.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So, Andy.
So you didn't pick hair?
No, I did not pick hair. No, it was always going to be Age of Aquarius.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you this. A movie that is not a movie musical, but ends in a musical number. I assume we've all seen The 40-Year-Old Virgin, the movie that basically made Steve Carell a box office monster after The Office. The movie, spoilers for this decade-old movie at this point, or even longer than that. The movie ends with he has sex because he's a virgin, right? The movie ends where he has sex, and his woman, who he is,
isn't it Catherine Keener?
Yes, it is. He marries her. they have sex. And then immediately after, I think she says, what did you think?
Yeah.
And he starts singing this song. And then they go into a full blast hair musical where all the actors from the movie are singing Age of Aquarius. And I thought, what a perfect way to describe the first time having sex.
Sure, yeah. All our younger listeners just learned something.
Yes. Well, there you go. Yes, younger listeners, if you're ever wondering what it's like to have sex, listen to Age of Aquarius. There you go. Andy, let's hear another choice, and your beautiful singing voice again.
Oh, thank you. Okay. There's something in the air this evening, something in the air. The world is at her best, you know, when people love and care. The promise of excitement is one the night will keep. After all, there's only one more sleep till Christmas. The world has got a smile today, the world has got a glow. There's no such thing as strangers when a stranger says hello. Everyone is family, we're having so much fun. After all, there's only one more sleep till Christmas Day.
Didn't expect a Christmas song, I have to say.
When's this episode air?
Before Thanksgiving.
That's okay. We know that in the UK it's Christmas season already because Guy Fawkes Day's over.
That's right.
That's true.
I know this song and I can't pull it.
It's from the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, yes. I was like, you were playing Andy and I was like, I know this song, but I cannot pull it.
I knew someone was going to get the Muppets in here somehow.
Yeah. This is my only exposure to the Muppets because we didn't have the Muppet Show over here and things like that. But the Muppet Christmas Carol is the one that's on. You know, we put it on every year. And
the only version of the Christmas Carol that's worth a damn, in my opinion.
Scrooge.
Yeah.
With Bill Murray.
I've never seen it.
Oh.
Yeah, almost a parody. I think this one they play it really straight.
They do.
And normally with a Muppet movie, from what I know, they do these kind of versions of classic novels or novellas. And then it falls apart because it's the Muppets. But this one, they just play it straight. And some of it's quite scary and some of it's upsetting. And it's, I think it's got a lot of value. And this song, it's just one of those that I think the chords are all it's very major and upbeat and it just kind of feels good. It's pretty simple, but I think that's fine sometimes. Got quite a lovely melody. And it just kind of feel good and definitely reminds me of Christmas. It has that kind of feel about the chord structure and the lyrics and everything. I really like it. I did work my butt off to try and get a Kermit impression, but it didn't come to pass. It was kind of,
Hold on. Kermit is a hard impression
What's
to do.
What's the name of the song, Andy?
One More Sleep.
One More Sleep.
One More Sleep.
Kermit is a hard impression to do to begin with, and two, it's a hard impression to do because of how deep in your throat it is. Like,
well, that's the thing about
it's very Danish to me, actually.
Well, that's the thing.
Oh, sorry. No, you go.
Oh, what I was going to say is that's the thing is everybody is now come used to doing cartoon Kermit,
not Jim Henson,
and Kermit was just Jim Henson's voice.
Yeah.
Right.
And you are right. It's very much Danish. It's a hard impression.
I mean that with respect. But when I went to Denmark, I was like, everyone sounds like Kermit. This is wild.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to attempt it.
I almost was doing it kind of one syllable at a time through the song. It was kind of, I'd get halfway through the first line and realize some of the vowel sounds weren't quite right. So There's magic, and just like working.
There's magic in the air.
Too much work for something you were doing out of the goodness of your heart.
I haven't watched this movie in so long, but it's like,
I know what we're watching this Christmas.
Oh boy. There's only one more sleep till Christmas. It's something like that.
Hard,
it's a hard impression.
Very nice.
Yeah. Excellent choice.
Great choice.
You know what? You're just hitting the Venn diagram of our listeners, bringing in the Muppets.
Yeah, truly.
We've talked about LSD. We've talked about the Age of Aquarius and something else, and now we're talking about Muppets. What an episode!
I feel like you guys chose really like grown-up songs, and I feel like I chose children's songs.
What? No, don't think that.
No, I think this is.
You're going to hear my last one, and it is fully about children.
All right, Andy, let's hear Ashley's last song.
For sure. Yeah.
Please imagine. Go ahead.
Go on. No. Just imagine.
I was going to say, imagine me at about 4 years old screaming this at the top of my lungs on a playground.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Whilst I'm finding the lyrics for this one, because I'm terrible with lyrics, I need them in front of me. There's a great outtake that I'll tell people to go and watch of because the puppeteers for the Muppets are geniuses, aren't they? And they're very good at improv and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the spoiler alert for anyone who doesn't know the Christmas Carol, but when at the dinner after Tiny Tim has ceased, they basically say cut, and then the puppeteer controlling Miss Piggy goes, "Can we eat him?"
that would have been Frank Oz.
Very, very funny. That would have made a completely different movie, and it makes everyone laugh in the moment.
I'll find that and I'll share it.
No, that's very funny. Yeah,
so funny. Okay, are you guys joining in on this one?
I don't think Jason knows the words.
I don't know the words of the song.
Oh well, you just need to parrot. Ironically.
Yeah. We sing back to him. Yeah, we'll do it for sure.
Okay. I won't grow up.
I won't grow up.
I don't want to go to school.
I don't want to go to school.
Just to learn to be a parrot.
Just to learn to be a parrot.
And recite a silly rule.
Yeah,
what you said.
Growing up means it would be with my dignity to climb a tree. Grow up.
Never grow up.
Never grow up. Not me.
Not me. No, sir.
Now, Ashley, is this version specific to a version of Peter Pan that's not? Is there a version of the song that's another? Or is this the song in every version of Peter Pan?
No, this song is only for. It was originally a Broadway musical that was then filmed and they made so they did make a film adaptation of it.
Mm-hmm. They
didn't just shoot them on a stage. However, when you watch it, it is just painted flats.
Yeah.
And like it very much, but I picked it because I thought it met the qualifications because they shot it in a studio. They didn't shoot it on the stage. This is what most people would refer to as the Mary Martin Peter Pan.
Yes, a very famous actress that played Peter Pan.
Here's a fun fact. I had this movie on VHS. This was my first exposure to Peter Pan. We didn't have the animated Disney Peter Pan. We had this version. I didn't know Mary Martin was a lady till I was like 12. So she is a very formative crush for me as a young girl.
Hey, she's a pretty lady. She's a pretty lady.
She's
also, I think
amazing,
that says a lot about her talents as an actress.
Absolutely. And Cyril,
she made you believe.
I wanted to kiss her face so very bad. Cyril Richard is,
and we have her on the phone right now. No,
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think she's alive.
I don't know. I'm gonna look.
No, she did die in the last 10 years.
Yeah. Cyril Richards' Captain Hook is the first very effeminate Captain Hook, I would say, which is kind of the standard now. Captain Hook's real fruity, and I love it for him.
Sadly, Mary Martin passed away in 1990.
LOL. So her and I may not have even crossed existences. Yep. But this is the 1954 adaptation of the 1911 book, which was adapted from the original 1904 play. So Peter Pan was originally a straight play. Then it was a book that was retitled Peter and Wendy. Then it was the musical in the 50s. They filmed the original cast, which won. They both, Cyril Richard and Mary Martin, Peter and Wendy, both won Tony Awards for their performances. They filmed it in 1955, the second year, and they aired it in 1955, 1956, 1960, and then basically from then on. It has just been rerun. It's owned by NBC ad nauseum since then. In 2014, they remade it. Hot take, it was very bad.
So Christopher Walken was Captain Hook, right?
Yes, and Allison Williams was Peter Pan.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of stock in this as well because I have played Peter Pan several times because I'm a short lady with short hair and a pointy face. So I have a lot of opinions about what it takes to make a good Peter Pan. And a lot of it is what I like to call boyish bravado, because little boys are a mixture of being absolutely adorable and real monsters. And that is who Peter is. Peter Pan is Wendy's arc.
Mm-hmm.
And if the woman playing Peter can't compliment the woman playing Wendy, it's no good. And this song for me exemplifies why I have loved Peter Pan for so long. And like I said, I have vivid memories of just Scream singing this song for my entire childhood.
It's funny because I also feel like this episode is Ashley and Jason reveal their past theater background.
Yeah.
Because the year after we did Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory,
yes.
I played Captain Hook in Peter Pan. So it's very funny. Yeah.
Now we announce we're running a fundraiser. Andy's our musical director. We're putting on Peter Pan.
2022 at the Rancho Cucamonga Theater. GHL's production of Peter Pan, baby. Andy Merryweather as the crocodile.
Honestly, though, love that for you.
Ashley,
Matt Nost in a special appearance as the heckler.
As Smee?
No, he'd be a good Smee.
Or he'd be a good Mr. Darling.
No, the funny thing about that is I know that Andy Merriweather's co-host, Matt Nost, if I were to call him up and be like, okay, we want you to be Smee, his immediate answer would be like, F no, and
Absolutely
click. And he'd hang up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I expect tweets about that production, by the way.
Ashley,
go ahead.
did you know? Sorry, I'm
all good. We're all over the place. It's all good.
It's really funny because you kind of brought it up, but Mary Martin's mother, I think she had a daughter and really wanted a son, like desperate for a son. So they tried for a baby, and she had Mary, and basically was in denial about Mary being a girl, and so she became this like tomboy type girl, and you believed she was a boy. I think that's very interesting.
I didn't know that, but stuff like that is beautiful because I'm not a determinist and I don't believe in fate, but it's one of those bits of serendipity where you're like, oh yeah, you were meant to do this thing.
Sure, yeah.
And break, I won't say break my heart, but I did never get to meet her, so I never got to tell her how much I loved her because we probably weren't alive at the same time.
Andy, I want to ask you a question here.
Yeah.
This is not the first time this episode that you've brought your research when it comes to movie musicals. So I want to ask you, are you a big fan of movie musicals?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I'm definitely not as versed as some people. And I'm also I absorb knowledge and tidbits and trivia like a sponge. I absolutely love learning. So I'm constantly watching something to learn about it and things like that. So you guys give me the opportunity to kind of figure out or find new things or learn new songs or bits like that. It's kind of is gold dust to me. I absolutely love it. So yeah, some of it I just know, some of it I've figured out or researched. But yeah, I am a big fan of movie musicals.
Nice.
He did his research before he came on.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, I did some research, yeah. Like Mary Martin. I think this is very interesting about Mary Martin and Debbie Reynolds, how they both accidentally ended up. I think you'd probably argue that some people are just destined, like you were saying, Ashley, but Mary Martin was given a dance studio in Texas, I believe, and basically one day walks into the wrong studio where they're auditioning and everyone's singing the song So Red Rose. And basically she walks in accidentally, is about to say whoops and leave, and the pianist says which key, and she doesn't know, so she just basically picks a key, sings the song, got the part, and that kind of sparks her career, musical theatre career. Debbie Reynolds wanted to win some prizes in a talent show, showed up without any talents, basically said, I can't do anything, but I really like the prizes on offer. They found her so funny, she won for a comedy. And then some comedy scouts are there and got her into comedies. Like these kind of stories that you hear about where people get their start as, outliers in life. I find really interesting how people kind of, walk in the wrong door and
also if you
find out it's the right one.
If you ever don't know what key to say, just say C. It's a safe choice, or B flat major.
Speaking of B flat major, Andy, let's hear another musical tune.
Yes, exactly. No problem. I am bumping.
I was like, there should be no choosing anymore. There's only so many.
No, exactly.
Left.
It's just about finding the lyrics, right? Okay. If someone stood up in a crowd and raised his voice up way up loud and waved his arms and shook his leg, you'd notice him. If someone in a movie show yelled fire in the second row, this whole place is a powder keg, you'd notice it's him. And even without plucking like a hen, everyone gets noticed now and then. Yes, of course, that person, it should be invisible, inconsequential. Me. Cellophane, Mr. Cellophane, should have been my name, Mr. Cellophane, 'cause you can look right through me, walk right by me, never know I'm there.
This is my choice, Mr. Cellophane from Chicago, from the 2002 American musical based on the 1975 stage musical. I will say right out the gate, I do not like this movie. I actually think it's a bad adaptation of Chicago, but I love Chicago, the musical. And the part that I do love from this movie, the reason why I chose this song is because I think the best part of this movie is John C. Reilly as Amos Hart in Mr. Cellophane. By the way, fun fact, he was Oscar nominated for this movie.
Yeah, as he should have been.
He did not win, but he actually won the Screen Actors Guild Award for this role. But because of John C. Reilly, that's the reason why I put this on this list. I do think this is like one of the best songs ever. Bob Fosse, John Kander, and Fred Ebb like wrote the lyrics. But I do think there's such an amazing, like, walk right by me and never know that I'm there is interesting. And if you've ever seen this performed live, the great thing about it is the choice that is generally done is that generally they'll only spotlight the actor's face, and you have to play the entire song barely moving.
Sometimes they'll put white gloves in that sort of vaudevillian style.
But generally, it's very vaudevillian. So it's all up to the actor to like only play it with their voice. That is literally all they have. And I think when the right actor comes along and knocks it out the doors, this song, even though it is vaudevillian, even though it is 1930s, I think can knock your socks off. Because I want to explain to some of our listeners that may not know what cellophane is. This phrase specifically is about meaning that like you're somebody who's lonely and you're somebody who's desperate for affirmation. Like this was a colloquialism that existed. And a lot of people know there's a lot of amazing performances in this. Going back to a Muppets connection.
I was hoping you were going to evoke Ben
Actually,
Vereen.
we should share this in the GHL podcast Twitter. Ben Vereen, who is a luminary Broadway performer.
Original cast of Pippin.
He plays the lead player.
He's in Roots.
He sings this song on The Muppet Show, and he does a fantastic job. Also, Joel Grey, another Broadway legend, played Amos Hart.
He's in Wicked.
He's in Wicked, and he was also in a great episode of The Muppet Show. He played it in the revival. But Ashley and Andy, I want to know, do you know the actor that originated the part of Amos Hart in the first production of Chicago? Do either of you know the answer?
I do not, no.
Okay.
No.
His name is, I'm going to tell you his name and see if you know him now. Do you know Barney Martin?
No.
Okay.
Is he Mary Martin's dad?
I do not think so. No. You both, well, Andy, I don't know about you, but Ashley, I definitely know you know this actor.
Okay.
Barney Martin is the actor that later played Jerry Seinfeld's dad on Seinfeld.
Are you kidding me?
He's the original Amos Hart.
I almost swore.
Yeah. Yeah, that is who Barney Martin is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he is the originator of Amos Hart.
Amos is interesting. I've seen Chicago live and the film, and he is like a nothing part. He's got like two scenes.
He's barely in the show.
And then once Mr. Cellophane happens, every time you see Chicago live, Amos starts the standing ovation It's always the best actor in the cast.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone thinks it's going to be Billy, but it's Amos.
And I will reveal a little bit of bias here. I have played this part. I have played this part. And I will say you are right. Like, I remember my memories of performing in Chicago were... when I did a college production for it was, I basically was just backstage most of the show, hanging out with people.
It's like playing, like Laertes in Hamlet has about 6 scenes, and in 3 of them he actually does something, and then he goes away for the whole show in the middle. So it's very similar.
But Mr. Cellophane, if you can pull it off, it is standing ovation every time. If you can pull it off.
It's ironic in that way that it's probably the showiest of the songs, right, in the show.
Well, it's the one that
the one that needs the most acting, I think.
I would also say it's the one that it's the one of Chicago that stops the show and says, this is a performance.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the rest of them sort of tell you a story. Mr. Cellophane is very much internally about Amos, very much asking, hey, can somebody pay attention to me for like 3 minutes, please?
And it's Mr. Cellophane and it's Mama's Good to You. It's Mama Morton's song. Those are the songs that like bring down the
Drop
house,
the house
every time.
Yeah.
And in the movie as well. They're probably
in
the
the
two
movie
best
they
songs.
are. They are the two best songs in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, my exposure to this song originally were I was at a workshop for people that had been approached by like Britain's Got Talent, X Factor, that kind of thing. And I was the only one there that wasn't sort of classically trained singer or anything. But they had a piano and I was able to just like play along like bits of Billy Joel. Excuse me. And this guy came in and his audition piece was Cellophane. And I remember I hadn't heard the song before. And I remember, I think I was about 15. And he sang Cellophane and he's doing the jazz hands and he's doing the kicking, like the can-can kicking thing. And I was like, the lyrics and this guy's performance, like, I need to figure this out because they don't reconcile. Like he's singing like he's, the song is about someone who, doesn't get seen. I guess the modern day version of this song is like Waving Through a Window from Evan Hansen, right?
Yes,
but but he's literally has all eyes on him because it's such a big performance. And I found that very, very interesting. But yeah, and I think, does John C. Reilly play it with like clown makeup on? I haven't seen Chicago.
Yes, and John C. Reilly is John C. Reilly first is an actor that everyone sleeps on for how stunningly talented he is. He is really interested in the tradition of clowning. So in the movie, I believe he puts the makeup on or the costume on, and he's all about like getting into the character and choose. Like he talks very extensively about,
and he does do the jazz hands, and he does look like a ragtime performer.
He looks like you know how clowns play hobos? That's what he looks like. Yeah.
Well, it's talking about sleeping on John C. Reilly again. We talked about movie musicals, and I brought up Walk Hard. John C. Reilly, that is the comedic take on Johnny Cash. It was talking Walking the Line. And I have said on this podcast several times that I think Walk Hard is a movie comedy that a lot of people sleep on. I think it's fantastic. I think it's so funny. And the thing that like pushes it over the edge is that all the songs for the movie, like there's 10 songs in the movie, and John C. Reilly sings all of them. And they are like sort of a take on all the styles of music from the 1960s to now, and he nails every single one of them. And not only does he nail all of them, but they're also comedic, so he nails the comedy aspects of it as well. And yes, John C. Reilly is an actor that many people sleep on, and again, that's the reason why for me it's his performance as Mr. Cellophane. Of course, it's Oscar nominated.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, we got one more from you, so let's take it to church.
Okay.
That's the thing that the children say.
That's what we'll be performing our production of Peter Pan at the Church at Rancho Cucamonga 2022.
I'm sure there's a church out there.
Several probably.
Okay, this song is, I guess, dedicated to the listeners of GHL as our final song.
Oh boy.
Remember me, though I have to say goodbye. Remember me. You cry, for even if I'm far away, I'll hold you in my heart. I sing a secret song to you each night we are apart. Remember me, though I have to travel far. Remember me, each time you hear a sad guitar. Know that I'm with you the only way that I can be, until you're in my arms again. Remember me.
That's some of our personal applause, and then here, Andy, here is some virtual applause. Perfect. Beautiful, dude. That's amazing. you know, of course, everyone knows that is from the movie Big Mama's House. And
it's also kind of timely for when we're recording this.
Coco. Yes. What made you pick this? Definitely a movie musical. What made you pick this beautiful song from Coco?
Yeah. So this, there's technical reasons why. There's sort of emotional reasons why. So this song, I think technically, I think that this song has a sweeter chord structure than any of the songs on this list, and potentially any of the songs on any list. I just think, and it's the first time that I'm going to discuss as I play, but these chords, I'll just take you through them very, very quickly, because of the variations in the bass notes make this a bit of a genius track. It's one of the ones that I love because I play by ear and I don't read music and stuff. This one is very tricky for me to figure out, but I just love that there's like lusciousness to the note. So it just starts. I'll just play it through a little bit. So that's just a simple C there, but then it comes into this kind of diminished chord. This weird A flat over D thing. Yeah, absolutely love it. I loved figuring this out when I originally watched the movie. It was one of those that I came straight home to try and figure out. I think it works on so many different levels. It works as like this pop mariachi song. It works as a celebratory song. It works as a love song, a ballad, a lullaby. It's obviously, you know, people interpret the song in different ways within the movie. That's part of the plot as to what this song means. And I don't know if the Lopez's combined with the Giacchino score, knew we'd bring Giacchino up on this episode.
Yeah, really.
But basically, like, I don't think enough people give them credit for writing a song that works on so many different levels. I can't think of another movie musical with a song that gets played in so many different ways and means something different every time it's played.
Yeah, we should give a shout out because it's written by Robert Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez, who are a husband-wife songwriting duo. And I've been Googling a little bit while you've been talking, and they did say that was it was all about picking the lyrics. They said about picking the lyrics that could be interpreted in 3 different ways. And they said that was the most difficult problem about writing the song. I forgot, by the way, this is a gorgeous song. Won the best Oscar for original song.
Yeah, Werewolf Die Night does a good job singing it.
What's that?
Yeah, thank goodness it did, because it would have been Greatest Showman if it hadn't.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
It deserves anything.
No, it's sung by Hagar Bernal, who was just cast as like Werewolf by Night.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand the reference.
Disney crossover.
But no, Andy, this is a great choice. It's so funny. Like you are correct. Like this song, I think you are correct. Like that little melody
motif
that goes underneath all of the Coco music is gorgeous. It is stunning. It is.
Coco is one of the most gorgeous Pixar movies just all around.
Oh yeah,
really, yeah.
It's just stunning. So excellent choice, Andy. And
I think these kind of pairs of notes that they do, I think there's something like, if you listen to the melody, I'm going to do it again. These pairs of notes. Or, you know, that kind of, it's all these pairs. And then it's all pairs, you know. Bum, bum, bum. There's something nostalgic, and I think the whole film is about nostalgia and, you know, life after death. You know, people don't really die as long as you remember them and all this kind of stuff. And these pairs of notes, there's something nostalgic about it. It could just be that we all have kind of Toy Story in our hearts, and this, you know, a song from Toy Story 2 that has pairs of notes. It's another song with pairs of notes that sounds very pretty, and I'd imagine they were probably listening to this kind of thing, like what gets adults and children alike to be, you know, emotionally invested in a song. And I think that song really works exactly right for that moment in Toy Story 2, and I think they probably borrowed a little bit of it. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but the pairs of notes are definitely a kind of a musical trick to get. I don't know whether it's from, because we grew up on, you know, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, it's all pairs. or pairs of notes. So maybe it's that. But yeah, there's something in it that makes you kind of feel, and you don't really understand or, as I'm proving, aren't able to articulate why. It just makes you feel something.
Nice. All right, everybody. Well, there you go. There are some of our choices for some of the best songs from movie musicals you've ever seen. These, of course, are our opinion. We're not saying the objective best. And we hope you enjoyed a little stroll down musical holiday. I don't know.
Memory Lane. Also, if you're screaming about
Melody Lane, right?
Yeah, Melody Lane. There you go. Mm-hmm. If you want to know like also rans, things that didn't make it on, more musical talk, then you'll have to stick around for the Geek History Lesson Extra.
Yes, which you can find at patreon.com/Jawiin. That's Jawiin. We're going to have a little bit more talk with Andy Merryweather. We have kidnapped him. He will not be going anywhere.
He lives in America now. He has no choice.
Well, we've trapped him in the land of the dead, and and we're only going to release him when we do our production of Peter Pan and Rancho Cucamonga. Buy your tickets now, on sale. Not on sale. Actually, a joke. So come over to patreon.com/Jawiin. Support us. Get our Just League podcast. Get all kinds of things, and hear more Andy over there. And thank you to the super friends that do. Andy, tell them where they can find you online. Tell them also about your Settle the Score podcast that we love, that we're big fans of.
Yeah, and that you've been guests on multiple times, and definitely having you back on as soon as possible, as soon as you guys are free. But yeah, basically name that tune, but with scores and soundtracks. Like this episode, I'll play and sing songs from films, and then the contestants have to guess what the movie is. And it's I host it with Matt Nost, and we come up with context clues to help people kind of think their way into the right answer, because the songs are trickier than the ones used today.
And sometimes the context clues help, and sometimes they're not even close. So
yeah, exactly.
they actually like hurt you more than help. But anyways, it's a great show. Go over and listen to that. And did you say where you could find them? They could find you on Twitter, Andy?
Yeah, it's STS_Andy M.
That's all right. Settle the score, Andy. Everybody get it? Get it? All right. Andy, thank you so much for you and your lovely piano to join us on the show today.
Oh, thank you, guys. It's always a pleasure.
And everyone out there, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget that you can subscribe and download this podcast on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can. Ashley, where can they follow the show on social media?
You can follow us at geekhistorylesson.com, facebook.com/geekhistorylesson, or on Twitter at GHL Podcast.
You can follow Ashley on Instagram and Twitter at Ashley V. Robinson. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Jawiin. That's Jawiin. And Andy, again, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure, as always, having you.
Thank you, guys.
And everyone out there, this has been it for Geek History Lesson. I am Jason, still have a golden ticket Inman.
I am Ashley Victoria Robinson, and Professor Jason, will you please dismiss the class?
Class is now dismissed.